Hi, YouTube. I hope you're doing good. I am having a pretty good day now. It didn't start out the best. I had some troll like people around me, and I really, up to a point I'll put up with it, but that part in the scriptures where it says we might be entertaining angels unaware. If I'm unaware that you're a nice person, what comes out of me if you act badly, what kind of angel you are, that's on you. And what I give you is what you get, So, yeah, I dealt with it as gracefully as I could. Or, no, let me take that back. I could have been more graceful. I dropped some of the grace to give them exactly the words they needed. I think that is more appropriate. So I'm going to share some ancient texts from Rex Bear Leak Project. And although they call them ancient texts, and a lot of things may be like, are what they call the archons, or you know, if it's a creation story from something else that is biblical, it could literally be the beginnings of that. But even with that, I I'm careful when I'm listening to people because they'll read something and give their opinion, which is really good in a manner of speaking because I do that too. But then it could dissuade you from what the real issues are. And with this text in particular, um, I well, you'll see what I mean if you listen to it. It's not too long. I think it's like about 20 minutes or maybe somewhere there about. I didn't even look. I was busy and I was listening to it while I was busy. And then wrote to him how I felt. He said, "Well, if you have any questions." Well, I didn't have a question. I had a statement. I'll copy the statement and I'll put it in my comments too. So, or you can go look what I wrote on his um video. But, and if I do get cut off, I'm sorry. I'm not going to really worry about it until I have time to really just concentrate on taking care of that. So I'll do what I can when I can do it. And just know that I love you with all of my heart. All of you are really amazing. And I'm lucky that I've met a lot of nice people that are concerned about the world the way it is. And to me, that's what this ancient text does, is explains things more in depth for people's understanding, because they're so hell bent on mixing up men and women and men's thoughts and women's thoughts, like we all originated from the same spot, therefore we're identical, and if we mix ourselves together we'll be like God. But what people don't understand is the woman was out of God's thoughts, not out of his flesh. And I can't get that through to people. It's like, listen, think about it. Just think about it, you know? And then the baby was made, you know? And with that baby, what they want to call in these texts, like Yah the Bay off, the one that does not know, is what that means. That when he was creating and the mother spirit is in mankind, he didn't realize that she was hiding in there to come out later and say, "I see what you're doing and you're not going to get away with it." So, I just thought I'd share these texts, and it is true. It'll ring true with you. You'll know it, and you'll know it. You just will. So, Excuse me a moment. These people, for God's sake. Why would you want to be both things when you're splendid the way you are? You know, that I never wanted, I want to be like the Christ spirit. I want to be like Christ in my soul, but I never had the desire to be a hermaphrodite or androgynous in any way. You know, I call it hydrogenated. So, and if you look that word up, you'll laugh, you know, because we have some cleaning up to do. And this is part of the cleaning up is feeling things with your soul and not just exploring like one area. Even you can be the biggest Christian in the world and read the Book of the Dead, knowing your opposition and the way they think is one of the greatest things in the world. And I still say there's no ancient texts that are 100% of anything to give it everybody understanding. So the more we can read what human beings have written through our history and use our own discretion as we're reading it with God in our hearts, that's the best way to get understanding out of the scriptures. So then when you read them after you've read these other things, you're like, what? That makes perfect sense. Because I am not a man. I have two X chromosomes. Men don't, you know. It's the way it is. The chromosomes don't lie. They never do, you know. So they can say they're mixing whatever they want to mix. The only thing mixed is the confusion in their brains. And God wasn't confused when he put forth um a mate for him, to a companion. We're not just fractals of God. We're individual souls. We're brand new. We're a creation all by ourselves, not half of something. We're actually all whole, all by ourselves. Women are whole, men are whole, and we're not half of this or half of that. Yes, that's what combined flesh makes on this planet, a brand new soul. That's the learning curve. That's the teaching tool, you know? But still we aren't fractals. That's like a crystal hanging by a string and it has facets, or like a diamond, you know, and saying you're only one part of that diamond. Quite frankly, we're not pieces of God. He does not need us. We're not a part, we're not a fractal. If you take so many fractions away from the whole thing, you can keep subtracting, and it's gone. That's not the case with God. We're not a fractal of God. We're made in his image. You know. You'll get what I'm saying more when you hear this. It's some of what Rex says is like, yeah, you're on the right track, But yeah. It's interesting. And you've probably heard these scriptures before, or like the Nagamati texts, or different, or the Emerald tablets, or a lot of things with the Sumerian tablets and all those. Yeah, there's bits of truth in everything like that, you know. But in this text, they talk about Christ, and they talk about the Father, and they talk about the Mother and the breath of life, and who is that breath. And did you know that Aquarians are air signs? We're not water signs, we're the water bearers. Like if I have a picture of water and all of you are that water, if I pick up that picture, I'm bearing you. I'm the water bearer. And our sign is electricity. We're a sun sign. When I write my name on my artwork, I put two waves with two lines through it, indicating that I'm just as powerful as Satan's five-pointed star, but I have five-pointed light working within the water, and that's my insignia. So just thought I'd let y'all know that, and no, I'm not Lucifer. I didn't fall like lightning, like lightning, not as lightning. Big difference. When you're actually given a gift of power to do a certain job, does not mean you actually obtain that power forever. That's like the gift of speech. You're not always guaranteed that you'll have that, or the gift of sight. It's not always just a given, or to walk. That's not a given either. So what Satan has is a temporary thing, is what I'm trying to tell you, because he tried to take control from God, from the original mother and father, and play games with flesh, with matter, through another female that he constructed, but that didn't have the spirit of life, our souls. So they went into making soulless beings until Christ's blood rose up into us, slowly but surely, and it's getting stronger all the time. I hope you're all well and having a good weekend. I was a little pissed this morning, but it's I passed around a post and then somebody didn't even like it, but yet she was able to jump on it with her own information that I already know. It's like you're preaching to the choir. Why don't you make your own posts, or at least like mine, and then I would have been absolutely joyful. But I'm just sick of these troll-like personalities. And then she's like, well, this is what got me. She said, how'd she word that? Like, people um don't research, and I've been doing this for many years. People don't research, and their ego and pride and etc. and etc. And I'm thinking, okay, I've just had it. My ego and pride. Yeah, whatever. If I'm worthy of something and I know what I'm talking about, that's not ego and pride. That's like, shut the fuck up, you little KUNT. I'm sick of your shit. I called her a twat, with a K. I couldn't stand it anymore. I said, you're preaching to the choir. You know. At first, I was graceful about it. I'm like, if you want to teach somebody, why don't you kind of like do it like this? I was trying to have a halfway decent conversation after she had already insulted my intelligence, but then she kept it up, and it's like, and finally okay, I'm just going to say this and then I'm done. And then I did feel better too. It's like, yep. You'll notice it's been about 3 months, about every 3 months. I can't take any more. And whoever is doing it, or a group of people are going to get what they got coming. Because this, ugh. Like I say, if I'm entertaining angels unaware, you better make it apparent to me just, you know, what side you're playing on. You know, who, what team are you on? You know, better make up your mind. So, and if I do get cut off, like I said, I do love you all. So I'll just shoot the breeze with you. That's all I'm really doing is just chatting with you all and sharing something that I found informational. And a lot of these texts, if not all of them, I have read already in my youth and had to carry this around with me for decades with not anybody to talk to. So now that people are coming to the light, it's like, holy shit, this is great. You know, it's a lot less lonely if you could imagine. When I was 12 and I started running hard and decoded stuff, I had people actually literally trying to kill me until they couldn't, and then they started teaching me because they found out that I was protected and there was nothing they could do about it besides bend to the will of God or perish. And that's the choice, you know. I'm fortunate. I never had the thought of not having that option, you know. So although I have had times I don't want to be here, there's never been a time that I would deny God's existence. And that's part of my fight too. God is a him. A her came out of his thoughts for him. And a baby was made. That makes pretty much sense. If, sure, we can't grasp the science of being made with a thought or a word causing a vibration making matter, you know, or flesh, and having that be held together by the Almighty Himself and nobody else, you know. So if He says no more, who would know? People don't think like that. They think, well, they're infallible. It's like, young people think, well, nothing will ever happen to me. And when you get older, you start kind of taking life for granted, like nothing ever has happened to me. And there's a lot of people that have had very sheltered and secluded lives that really haven't gone through things that other people might have went through for them. And that's the Christ spirit that a lot of people just don't want. They say they recognize that, they say they honor that, but they don't even know what it is within themselves in the sea of people. Yes, that's a part of God in the sea of people. That's the Christ spirit. Well, you'll see, and you'll believe what you want to believe there. I mean, I don't want to twist anybody's mind as far as I won't like you if you don't believe what I believe. I just think that a lot of it will resonate with you and it will make a little more sense to the stories that have been twisted to try and combine this stupid flesh. And we will have glorified bodies, but these are not those. And you don't want to come back to that. Just think about that. All you have to really do within yourself is have that faith that you're going to be with God and know you're not going to be just like a clump of light cells or some silly thing like that. There is actually a house an existence for you in the future, that God has prepared all kinds of delights for our future. You're not just going to be sitting on the floor in robes around a throne looking at light. It's not like that. But that's just my expression of what my soul screams for everybody, trying to help you make sense out of all this chaos that they're causing, trying to mix the man and the woman with our thoughts and our actions and our bodies. We're separate. We were made to be separate, to come together to make life. That technology was stolen, usurped, and put to bad use against the father to try and eliminate him so the bad baby could have ultimate power, which really makes no sense whatsoever, because he knows, let's put it this way, if he could conquer the woman's spirit, he could run the whole show. It'd be 2 against 1 within that trinity, but that will never happen. So, because without the father, the woman doesn't exist, and neither do the babies. You know, but that's still out of his thoughts. You know, so yeah, appreciating who God is for who He is, and not mixing the flesh bodies and emotions of one gender and another gender as a clump of both the same thing and a fractal of what is. This is all so ridiculous. Really, really think about it honestly. Cheers, everybody.